UltraAlgo here. Today is May 7th, and we're going to be reviewing some of the calls over the past few days, specifically stock ticker NMRD on the 5-minute chart, stock ticker MVIS on the 5-minute chart, and then stock ticker SJ, SQGB, as well as LYL and OCGN. Some of these stocks are very popular. Some of them might not be as popular, but they were all popular on one specific day, at least over the course of the last week or two, where they made parabolic runs or they had a significant drawdown that they experienced. So before we jump into the charts, let's look at some of those calls. NMRD, all of these are time-stamped in StockTwits. We love their feature that they offer because of that. But NMRD, we made a call that had a history of pulling back, and that ended up dropping 29.11%. I think at one point it dropped 32%. Stock ticker MVIS, it had a lot of momentum and a lot of the forums were pushing it, and ended up dropping 51%. SJ, we made a short call on that, ended up dropping 29%. And then this was a buy call that we made. We don't make as many buy calls as short calls because we find that most retail investors don't sell at the right time. But SQGB was significantly oversold, and that ended up jumping 29.72%. LYL, we had shorted this, dropped 35%, and then we saw an opportunity for a bounce back, jumped 14.75%, so it was around 50% return on this. And OCGN, that was a short call. It was touching all the resistance lines, and it dropped 18.91%. Now let's go directly into the charts. Great, so here is the stock ticker MVIS, and you can actually see the UltraAlgo script running here, where you have the buy signal. The buy indicates a bullish pattern, the short indicates a bearish pattern. We also have the ultra bull and ultra bearish signals, which indicates market maker trades, either in one direction or the other. And all of this is firing in real time. So here you can actually see what we're looking at on the 30-minute chart on the top. And most people might not trade on the 30-minute chart, but we do like to have it as a point of reference, at least to guide our general entries. So what we saw with this particular ticker is that it did have a history of spiking, and every single time it would hit this resistance line, it would make an aggressive pull back. So what we do is when we do see that a security is making a very aggressive run, we'll monitor it closely and set our alerts. So then it fires when the short signal, when the short signal activates, and that's when we'll open up a short position. We'll also wait until we get these ultra bull signals to potentially open a long position. When I say long, we stay relatively short amount of time in these specific types of securities. But here you can actually see on the bottom on the 5-minute chart how it performed on the day. So we got a ton of ultra bull signals. That means that the institutions came in, they're really supporting the price. As you see, those runs usually they don't last very long. So they came in for 20 minutes, jumped the price up, and then secured profits where it dropped down another maybe 15%, 10-15% in that same period. Then we saw a buy signal, swang it up. A short signal came back down, and then finally here was the big drop, right? So we're always taking into consideration that resistance line because, again, every single time it hits that resistance line, it falls right back down. And if you see where we actually got the notice right here, this is where we got the notice. So that was the short signal at 10 a.m. and then from that point it dropped down significantly and very aggressively. Next ticker is MVIS. This is a very popular ticker. Here you can actually see the institutional trades where they're supporting the price. They push the price all the way up. Lots of opportunities for swing trading along the way. But if we hide the the ultra signals for a moment, you can get a better sense of what it looks like without those notifications. So again, this buy and short signals are for trading with the retail, and we always recommend trading with bracket orders, so enter and exit, and not chase to the extremes, because that's when you'll find a lot of people getting stuck without a chair if you're playing a game of musical chairs. Next ticker we're going to look at is stock ticker SJ, and here you can actually see the pattern that it was following. And we have this firm belief that the patterns always repeat. And with our, we've ran a lot of machine learning in the past where we looked at thousands of securities, and we found that in 86% of the instances, it's definitely the case. The ones that are a little bit more difficult to identify are the stocks originating from China, as well as the pharmaceutical stocks. But that's not to say that you can't follow it, try and find a pattern there as well. Your stock ticker SQGB, very nice pattern here. You can see these market maker trades where they're pushing it up and pushing it down. Very aggressive. When we look at these resistance line, the green line at the top is the absolute resistance line. The white line is the most immediate resistance line. So every single time it touches, it's going to see a very aggressive pullback. And then this white line is a support line. So this would probably be a good opportunity to potentially enter a position here. And then the stock ticker LYL, which is the a China play, a stock originating from China. It tends to perform very consistently, but it's very highly manipulated. Here you can actually see what it looks like from a retail standpoint. And remember, we talked about that white resistance line. Every single time it touches that white resistance line, it comes right back down to it. So it's just a matter of setting your signals and making sure that you're aware to when to open a short position, when to open a long position. And then here's a stock ticker OCGN. This one gets a lot of attention. It's beautiful for swing trading across multiple days. If you're shorting, I like to be in and out of it. But here you can see how the patterns display. This is showing the institutional trades being very aggressive. But if I reduce how aggressive they are, you can actually see the overall movement for retail, and then validated by the institutional trades. And then the other ticker I love to look at is stock ticker NAIL. This is probably one of the most consistent stocks out there. Very cyclical. So usually what we find is that a retail investor will look at the micro level. This is the 15-minute chart at the top. And then they'll see that, okay, well, from every single trade, from the buy signal to the peak, it's let's say around a 12 to 15% run. So overall, this looks fantastic. And here it's got the buy signal, and it's running very aggressively. So the next signal is going to be a short. Our signals are always they always run buy short, buy short, buy short. So the next signal here is going to be a short. We basically set our alerts and wait for it to fire. Between this buy and the short signal, there's around 15 minutes. So it's around 2 to 3 weeks, and each one of these candles is 15 minutes. So we wouldn't necessarily sit in front of the computer and just wait for these signals to fire. We'd set our alerts and then come back when it's right. But overall, I mean, even though the micro level looks fantastic, and this is a beautiful stock to swing trade in general, if you look at the big picture down here on the 2-hour chart, you'll see that it's hitting a very important resistance line. And every single time it hits that line, it pulls back very aggressively. So it might be a good opportunity to potentially start looking at opening short positions in general for this type of security. Now, this is an ETF, so it's a little bit difficult because usually you have a directional bull and a directional bear. But it just gives you some context in terms of, well, you might not be able to short this directly, but you could short things like Home Depot or Lowe's or things like that, or start looking at it from a bearish perspective because it looks a little overrun. I might pass this line a little bit, but we'll see. We also just released a new tool, which is stock ratings. And this uses machine learning. It updates in real time, pulls all the tickers, and it's actually pretty accurate. So it has to be used in conjunction with the trading tool for identifying entry points. So it's really looking at the short-term outlook, and that could be within the next within this specific day's trading session or the next 7 to 14 days. It's really not designed for the long-term outlook. So this updates in real time. When we compared it to TradingView's ratings as well as Morningstar's, we delivered 41% better returns from a profit standpoint. So it's definitely a powerful tool to have, but it absolutely needs to be used in combination with our UltraAlgo script. We've got all this fantastic information here as well as SEC data. Thank you for watching the technical video. If you're interested in improving your overall trading strategy, we recommend you start a 7-day free trial with UltraAlgo. This tool is designed to help traders easily identify buy and short opportunities across securities listed on all major exchanges. That includes the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, OTC, CBOE, and it's also available for Forex and crypto trading. We're also the only trading tool out there that lists institutional trades in real time. So we actually don't wait until the SEC releases that information for opening. For demonstrating those signals directly on your screen. Start a 7-day free trial at ultraalgo.com.